Well, we're here today because we're concerned about the cuts,
Okay.
and we want to see revenues generated. This is a very wealthy state, very rich state. We were in Senator Runner's office, and her staff member came out and just said, "Oh, if you increase taxes, they'll all run away from California." Well, not so. I mean, the good point that you made earlier was that the oil is not going to leave California. I mean, it'll leave it if it's exported, but most of the oil that's oil has to be distilled and refined here because we have different standards than the rest of the country. You know, if we were to have the same schedule of taxation as Sarah Palin's Alaska did, we'd be at 25%. We'd have $8 billion extra dollars at $100 a barrel than the production we have. That's according to the LA Times. I'm not just making that figure up. According to the California Budget Project, you know, Jeannie Ross's group here, if the corporate tax right now is about 10 billion out of the 85 or 90 billion, and that's insane. If it was just $10 billion more, if it was doubled that small amount, we would then, between the severance tax and corporate income tax increase, we would go to, we would easily not only cover the current deficit at about 10, we'd be able to go back, and the 12.5 or so that was already cut, you could restore 2/3 of that, just right off the bat. But we're not taxing those.
And the point is, by not taxing, the alternative that's being picked is to cut things like in-home supportive
It
services.
just says, yeah, which
Yeah,
to
cutting mental health.
Right.
These are the weakest people in the society. And we can't tax like Alaska does, which was run by one of the most conservative Republicans. And we can't tax that. The alternative that we've chosen is to cut services to the weakest people. That does not sound right. It's not fiscal. First of all, if you cut in-home supportive services, those people are going to wind up in nursing homes, which is going to cost more anyway. So it's counterproductive any way you think about it. So our question is, number one, why aren't the business taxes being increased? And number two, why is oil not being taxed the way it's taxed in Alaska?
And not just oil, minerals taxes.
Right.
Severance taxes, anything taken is then paid for in some kind of a fee. In Wyoming, they don't even have an income tax because their severance taxes covers so many costs. So, our story is let's get the revenues, and let's realize that this is that we can supply that from our own commerce. The Federalist paper, number 12, talks about, it was written by Hamilton, it says that commerce, the best place to tax is at the commercial level, at commerce. And the argument was against taxing farms, that the farmer feeds everybody, and the earth does what it does, Mother Nature does what it does, and so the farmer, tries to glean what he can off of it. But to tax at that level is wrong. It's once it gets to the market, then we tax it at that level because there's an exchange of money, and then we can take some of that money. We're not doing that. California is lucky in the sense that it has a progressive income tax, but it stops. It caps off, and we don't tax the really wealthy people high enough. And we don't tax, but it's not enough to do that. And on here, we're looking at legislation that talks about taxing taxing incomes for high income
1%
individuals.
is the top 1%.
Yeah, but we could go further than that. We could look at assets. One of them looks at Prop 13, and when a property changes hands, and I mean, hell, if I sell my home to you and I'm only paying tax on $150,000 and I sell it to you for $300,000, your tax is doubled.
Do you know that?
But it doesn't happen to a
Do you know
corporation.
about the sale of Long's? Long's drugstores? You know Long's drugstores?
Yeah,
Okay, it was sold to CVS. or something.
CVS.
Yeah.
You know what they did? they kept some of the people on the board from Longs on the new CVS, and that meant that the property itself didn't change and they did not get taxed. If I sold my house to somebody else, I would get taxed.
Yeah,
But these corporations are doing that. That's a way they avoid paying the extra property tax. And it's being done with a lot of corporations in this state. But they're maintaining enough people from the old board onto the new board so they don't have to pay these kinds of taxes that the normal resident would pay. So you got that level, and you got the level of property, Proposition 13 should not apply to commercial property anyway.
and that's the reason for this. And where does the senators, or the Assemblyman stand on this?
You know what? I'm not sure right now. I was gonna ask you where, these bills are they on the floor yet, or?
I'm not sure about the legislation, the status of the
Okay.
legislation. I'm just kind of wondering about Prop 13, because that does
Decided
garner
to
quite a bit of money.
Release assembly members getting into office in a couple months.
Okay.
Okay, we're preaching to the choir. I see Cesar Chavez's
Oh.
picture
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I see, I don't know what that is in the corner, Ganas Protegiendo Dignidad, or whatever. I mean, frankly, I can hope, but I don't, I'm afraid this will be taken to the streets. The legislature has to respond. It really does have to respond. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
You know,
Thank you.
Appreciate
I'll
it.
take a look at these pieces of legislation.
Yeah, but also
I'll
please
post
look at taxation of
business, yeah.
severance. Seriously look at that,
Okay.
and also
And
look
the
at
business
doubling the not so much business tax, corporate tax,
Mhm.
corporate tax, corporate taxation. Small businesses are absolutely struggling.
Yeah.
They're not making it.